Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Fuzzy Memories from the Road with myself, Brandy Green, and
And I'm Dustin Pari. Thanks for joining us here once again. Ms. Green, where are we going on our big trip here today?
so the last episode entailed our Australian adventures. And
That's
today
right.
we continue those adventures into what will be the last Fuzzy Memories episode that is specific to Ghost Hunters International episodes. Okay? So we still will have a few more fuzzy episodes to come, and we have some fun things planned. But in terms of Ghost Hunters International cases, this is the last one. This is our last case together, Dustin.
Yeah. After this, we the band started to break up a little bit. I had to come back. And I filmed some stuff for Ghost Hunters while Steve and Tango were off doing their Academy show, and you stayed on for a little while, and then I just never came back.
Yeah, you never came back, and I will never forgive you for that.
My apologies. So for people wondering, so like the plan was for me to come back, but to be quite honest, after coming back and filming domestically and being able to be back home to my family, I just felt like it was more important for me to come back home. And Brandy can attest to the fact that I was kind of a little sad sack for a while there. I was really missing being home, and especially having a relative newborn. It was very tough to be away. So that was it. This is where we split up.
So where we split up is in Hobart, Australia, and I believe the episode was titled Tasmanian Death Sentence.
Spooky. Yeah, it's
Very,
scary.
yeah, but it wasn't.
No,
It wasn't really.
no.
So we filmed at the Tasmanian Supreme Courthouse, if I remember. I think that was the name of the building. And you would think by the name of the location that it would be like this huge, imposing, like courthouse, maybe
Yeah.
government center, something big. No, it was
Yeah.
like one of the smallest locations I think we have ever done.
I was expecting something out of like Ghostbusters, like lots of stairs and like lions and like all these things, and it was just like a 2-floor and an attic kind of place, I think.
It was actually so small. So, what was funny about this location was the two other locations that we filmed at in Australia and Tasmania, the quarantine station and Port Arthur Penitentiary, they were actually, I think, some of the largest locations that, well, for me, I have ever investigated in my life.
Yeah.
And then we go to Hobart, and it's like the size of like a 1-bedroom, 1-bath LA apartment.
Yeah, this was kind of like, we need to film one extra thing, one more case. Here's this place. This'll do.
It was so small that we had to break the group up into like teams of 2 or 3 at a time, and everyone else, like including like the camera guys, sound, whoever that was not actively holding a camera, they had to wait outside in vehicles so that the rest of us could film, and we had to switch off and on throughout the night.
I don't remember any great claims from this place.
There was like a clock tower that the ghosts like messed up the time.
Anytime there's a claim that a ghost is stopping the clock or any of these type of things, you really need to at least try to be logical about it to see if there's anything that could be causing that type of activity to happen, like just in your own home. Like if there's something that's happening that you think, oh, a ghost is doing that. Well, why would a ghost do that? Why would a spirit be like, I'm going to stop the clock? Like just to be annoying? Like what is the purpose of it? And is there something else that could be happening with it?
But you see, here's the problem. logic is hard.
It is. Yeah.
So I remember that this location, so the courthouse in Hobart, there was a tie-in to Port Arthur Penitentiary, in that some of the individuals that were being tried for their crimes would pass through this particular courthouse before going on to Port Arthur. So in that, we actually were able to try at least to tie together those two locations. Because if you look back at the GHI episode and the Fuzzy Memories episode, which was right before this one, we talk about Port Arthur and how Dustin, me, and Ashley were investigating cell block C, and there was a particular inmate there, I think his name was John Gould, and we had put Ashley in the cell that he was held in, and she was experiencing very strange feelings and stuff like that. So we thought, well, what are the chances that John may have been passed through this courthouse before moving on to Port Arthur? So how about we kind of use Ashley as like a trigger object in a way. And I just remember her face when, I don't remember who it was, but they're like, hey, guess who's here? We have Ashley. And she seriously was like, what? Don't do this.
But we do. I mean, we were trying to make, we try to make the best of any case that we go to, even if the claims sometimes are a little bit outlandish or kind of far fetched, or sometimes they have great claims, but there's nothing going on. We still do a thorough investigation, and we still try to find like what can we do that might make sense, that might cause activity, that may entice somebody to try to interact with us. So this was one of those efforts in which we were trying to tie together things that we had been doing with spirits that may have been present at both places, which is not always an opportunity that you have. So it's kind of unique in that way. But it didn't come to much result, if I recall correctly.
No, as far as I remember, absolutely nothing happened at this location except for us pissing off the client.
Yeah, I had the unfortunate duty of explaining to the gentleman, and I get it. Sometimes people really, invested in the location and the idea that the location is haunted. So I can understand why, people get upset sometimes when we don't find any evidence of it. But, and it doesn't mean that there's never anything there. But if we can find a logical explanation for something and we can demonstrate it, you have to at least be open to that understanding. And if this was the place I remember it to be, with the clock being stopped by the ghost, when I was upstairs in the attic space there in the belfry or whatever it was, I had taken the handy cam and I videoed where the pendulum was swinging for the big clock, which was the claim that the ghost would stop it. There was a bunch of fresh nesting from a bird that was in there. And it was right next to where the pendulum swings by. Like, you could only, put like your hand right in between the two, and you couldn't move at all, because if you did, you touched the pendulum. And if the pendulum would just graze the side of my fingers, it would slowly kind of warble out of its space and come to a stop. So it was not a big stretch to think you have fresh nesting just a finger's breadth away from this swinging pendulum. If it touches a bird at all, the same thing's going to happen. And we demonstrated in the video, here's my finger just in between the nest and this pendulum. As soon as it grazes it, it's going to come to a stop. And sure enough, that's what happens. But the client wouldn't buy it. He wouldn't believe it. He kept saying we were wrong. That's not what happens. It's the ghost. The ghost stops the clock. And every time I try to just get him to at least accept the idea that maybe it isn't a spirit stopping the clock, he would get madder and madder. At which point, at one time, I just said, well, regardless of what you think, which I felt rough, but I was like, we're not getting to where we need to get with this scene to close out the show here. So regardless of what you think, this is what our evidence shows. Here's a logical explanation for it. Not haunted. Sorry, Hobart.
And the funny thing was, I remember sitting in like the gallery boxes or whatever, watching you guys do the reveal, right? And so I was privy to seeing like Dave Hobbs like standing there, and he knew that the client was getting mad. And I
Yeah.
remember Dave Hobbs just like going, "We need to wrap this up because this is just like not going well," you know, like.
It's bad. Yeah, because I mean, at any point they could just say, "Well, forget it. We don't want it to be on the show."
Right,
You know?
exactly. And that's why Dave, I think, was like getting really nervous.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It was tricky terrain for sure, but I tried to walk that high wire as best I could with like being respectful, but being like, I'm being honest with you. There's not a spirit stopping your clock. Here's evidence why. Please just listen to logic and reason.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess that was kind of a weird way to end our journey in Australia because I think we did 4 locations in total. We did Monte Cristo, we did
Right.
Quarantine Station, and we did Port Arthur, and
In Hobart.
then this one.
Yeah.
And I think all of them paid off except for this one.
Except for that, yeah. 304 is good. That's very good odds, though, for the kind of stuff that we do, for sure.
Right. I think it was worth the trip. I think LA was like, all right, that works, you know.
Yeah, it's a fair shake, So it was good. It was good overall, and nothing against the good people of Hobart, of course, but it was a tough case to try to explain that nothing's happening. Here's why, and sometimes you come across people like that and clients like that, and that was the unfortunate case for our last case together.
And speaking of last case together, I do have
There it is.
the case file.
That's what the kids tune in for every week. There it is, the Tasmanian courthouse.
I know. And again, Wikipedia articles.
Right, about the clock, I'm
Yep.
sure.
Yeah.
TikTok nonsense.
And my old notes, my handwritten notes.
Handwritten Brandy Green notes.
I know, isn't that
The
funny?
all-important case download in the back of the car.
Getting like car sick.
That's right. My God.
I get
Right.
motion sickness, so like and here's the funny thing, like I always hated seeing myself look down and refer to my notes on camera as well, but what people have to realize is the locations that like the international show went to oftentimes had almost 1,000 years worth of history.
Yeah.
So try to remember, and we're going like every 2 weeks to a different location
Right.
with like little to no sleep. So try to remember all the facts and the names and the dates for every single location while you're getting motion sickness.
Right. And then when you get on a roll and you're talking about it, it's going, well, like, we have to stop because of a red light or somebody cuts you off, and then like, oh, we got to do it again.
I know.
Because you can't stop, for editing purposes. So it was always just awkward.
It was just terrible. I always hated that. Like, it was my moment, and I would always give myself like a pep talk, like, don't screw this up.
Oh, Lord. Indeed.
So that concludes the actual GHI episodes. At the back end of this episode, you guys went to Kelly's Castle, which I did not join you at.
Right.
And
Yep.
then the following one, we went to Jamaica, and you weren't there.
I wasn't there. Yeah.
No.
By the way, in the Malaysia case, I also almost wasn't there because as we were, it was a nice way for me to go out. We normally stay in cold, gloom and doom places, but Malaysia was nice. It was warm. I think it's always warm. I don't know. But the exchange rate was in our favor.
Oh, okay.
There was a rooftop infinity pool. I had never been in a rooftop infinity pool, and I've never been in one since. But I was in it a lot when I was there because I thought, when else am I going to have this opportunity? And so I would sit up there and look upon Malaysia and enjoy it.
And eating your cheese and wine while in the infinity pool.
I was really living it up, and I kind of felt like I might not come back. Like I might go back to GH, and like this might be the end of it. And so much so that the day that we went to film at Kelly's Castle, whatever it was, I was still in the infinity pool, and I realized it was close to call time. So I went downstairs and got my stuff, and I got dressed, and I go outside, and they had left without me. Nobody had noticed that I wasn't in the car. They weren't filming, so no one really paid attention to who was piled and where. And everyone just assumed, I was like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. Everyone assumed I was in one of the other vehicles. But turns out I was just in the infinity pool hanging out. and lost track of time, and no one came to get me. So they had to come back to get me. And of course, I have no cell phone. I have no satellite phone of my own, so I have no way to get in touch with them. I just had to wait. And eventually, like an hour or so later, they get to the location, realize, oh, we don't have one of the lead investigators. We should probably go back and get him. So yeah, so you didn't miss much, Brandy. It wasn't a great place, and I almost didn't make it either.
Well, and don't worry about Jamaica. Jamaica was a bust too, so.
Same. But now let's talk about a special place that was the biggest bust of all. Our trip to Singapore.
Yeah, the episode that never was.
We spent like days there. So there was some issue with like getting the gear into customs. And then there was an issue with filming at the location. Like they didn't bribe the right guy or something happened.
Okay, so here's the funny thing, right? Normally, we'd get these bad boys on arrival, right? Like basically you show up at the airport and when they shuttle you to the hotel, you're given this, right? Oftentimes they'd even email you prior.
Yeah.
Not this time.
We're going to work it out there.
Yeah, this time they were literally Dave Hobbs, Micah, I forget, Tom Dorman, I think, was still with us. Like, I don't even know who all was there in terms of production, but they were all on foot, running around Singapore, trying to find haunted locations for us to just be able to, like, film at.
Anything. Yep.
Now, here's the funny thing. I think it was because I don't know where we were just prior to going to Singapore. We were already out.
Yeah, we're already on the road. Yep.
So it must have, I'm trying to make sense of this. It must have made more sense for us to travel from where we were to Singapore, because it must have financially made more sense than flying us all back to the US and flying us back out once they actually like confirmed locations.
Yeah. It did not work out that way. If I recall, it was around Christmas time. I want to say it was in December.
It may have been.
I'm almost positive this was the flight home, because I remember sitting there, we were there, I want to say over a week, and we had nothing to do. And then it was like, I was having a conversation with production, like, listen, I want to be home with my family for Christmas, not sitting here with no case. And I remember the airline pilot playing harmonica and singing Christmas songs with a Santa hat on. And we flew home like the day before Christmas Eve or something ridiculous.
I honestly don't even remember. I just remember there's
You're probably like a bottle of wine deep at that point, but that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, 12 or 14 miles worth of extended mall to mall to mall interconnected shopping malls. Yeah. That's what I remember. Like, you could spend like a week just getting lost in the shopping malls.
And this isn't like the shopping mall that you may be thinking of at home. This is like a very big flea market. Lots of electronics, like no real stores. They were just buildings within buildings that was selling like Radio Shack crap.
Yeah, so they had some that literally had like 8 floors of just like electronics. Everything like black market electronics, you know, like the belt buckle with the hidden cameras in them and like
the guy from Goonies, like Data made all the stuff that you buy there.
Yes, so they had a section like that, and then they had the Hello Kitty section, which took up about 75% of the friggin' mall.
Yeah, lots of Hello to Kitty. Yeah.
Anyway, and then, but what I do remember from the Singapore shopping mall experience was they had these large, like, stuffed animatronic animals on wheels.
The ones you could ride.
And Joe Chin, like, hopped on one and literally, like, sped around the mall.
It was great. I want to say it was a panda. It was wonderful. He looked so happy on it.
I have pictures and video.
Oh, thank God.
Yep, I do. And there was, like, he was, like, trying on all of the weird, like, electronic, like, back in the day, like, the AI and the different things, you know, that now we have. But back then it was, like, new and cutting edge, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we got that guy to do so many crazy
Yeah.
things.
Joe loved having fun. He was always up for a good time. Like whatever
This
it
was
was.
the this was the fish spa one, right?
Yeah. So when you're on the road for a while and you're stuck in Singapore, there's all the rules. There's a, don't chew gum in public, don't spit gum out. Like there's all these signs of things you can't do, but you can go to the spa for very special exfoliation treatment featuring little fish, and you put your legs in the tank like knees deep, and you sit on a bench and they eat all the flesh off you.
And here's the thing. It's not like you get your own 10-gallon tank.
No, you're together.
Oh, everyone is together.
Yeah.
And you start out with the little minnows.
Right, to get used to it. Because they bump against you, it's weird.
Right. They kind of, the little minnows, you don't really, whatever. It's not like a thing, It's like, oh, this is weird. And then you get bumped up progressively to larger tanks with larger fish.
Yeah.
And the larger ones feel like they're gouging your skin out of your leg.
Yep.
And I just remember Joe Chin had bandages.
Yeah, he was laughing as he was bleeding in the water. No, and I'm not skeeving Joe Chin, it's fine, but we're sitting there with our legs in shared water, there's just blood everywhere, and the fish are just going at it, and he's laughing about it this is fine, this is what Joe Chin does. All right, so I don't know if you probably have never seen this because what opportunity we had, but the fish ate the hair off the outside of my legs. It has never grown back. So I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but if you look here's my alien tattoo. I'm completely bare. I'm completely bare all in the middle. I have hair on the outsides, but nothing in the middle.
Dustin, do not blame the fish. It was that epilady you keep in your bottom drawer.
I bought it at that Singapore museum mall. Dear Lord. But yeah, but both legs, I have no fur in those two patches where they were just doing a number on my legs. I don't know why they follicle at all. I never grew back. My GHI scars, the emotional ones you can't see, but those bald calves, weird. And
I have video of our adventure at the spa as well.
Oh, good. This is going to be a great little video for everyone to see, I'm sure.
It's just going to be a massive montage of what the hell are we doing in Singapore?
They never got a case together for us. We hung out there for over a week or so.
Yeah, I remember taking a day. I went with Joe Chin, Barry, and our sound guy, Jay Ash. Mm-hmm. And we went to Pulau Hantu, which is Ghost Island, and we rented bicycles. And I don't know how it happened, but Joe Chin and I got the bikes with the baskets on them.
Nice. How fancy.
Yeah.
That's great.
And so that was an experience. It was kind of like a cool little fishing village. It's a cool history actually, in terms of their culture and stuff. But I mean, I guess we can say we've been to Singapore, but without any real rhyme or reason to why we
didn't get paid for it.
What was that?
We didn't get paid for it because we didn't film an episode, so we were just there.
Yes, so here's the fun thing. So I didn't do Ghost Hunters except for one episode. And where that one episode came in was because I think we got paid up front, but on the condition, we got paid for the Singapore, but on the condition contractually that we had to do the Ghost Hunters crossover episode.
Yeah.
If we didn't do that one, we had to pay back the money for Singapore.
Right, because we were paid by episode. It wasn't like we got paid by the day or the hour or anything. So since we didn't do an episode there, we didn't get paid for that one.
Right.
So we went to New Hampshire. We went to New Hampshire and filmed at the inn.
In the winter with 45 feet of snow.
Yeah, right back to the winter. Crazy.
Anyway, so that's why that happened.
Yeah. What a crazy mess it was. But you know, it was a shopping experience in Singapore. That was pretty much it.
That was pretty much it. Like that's the hotel, the shopping mall, the fish spa, and then me going with a few people to the haunted island, which I don't think was actually haunted. I don't know.
Just like Hobart.
Yeah.
Same old stuff.
So that was the episode that never was.
Right. Some secret behind the scenes stuff.
So that concludes this episode, but stay tuned because we do have a few more in the pipeline. We have a surprise for everyone that will be coming up.
Indeed. I think everyone's going to enjoy it quite a bit.
I do too. So with that, bye everyone.
See you next time. Hold on 1 second. Let me just get this. My whole light kit is at Cody's because we're doing Hey Got a Minute episodes. And so I've got I had to modify my setup here.
Well, I'm totally blown out here just because this time of day now and this point in the year, like I'm facing a window.
Oh yeah.
So normally it's darker outside, but I'm like, whew. The Phantom of the Opera.
You do savings time there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, unless they just do away with it.
They're doing away with everything, I think.
I know.
Cancel it all. We're starting again.
We're just starting from scratch.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone's included unless you're against us, in which we hate everybody. I'm very confused at the way the world's going.
Makes no sense. Anyway.
Anyhow. All right, BG, let's get this thing rocking.
All right. Ready?
Here's to you, love.